The Bering Sea in winter is one of Earth's most hostile environments. Ice-cold waters, towering waves, and temperatures that can kill within minutes. Yet every year, fishing crews venture into this frozen wasteland for one of the ocean's most valuable prizes, Alaskan king crab. This is the story of one crew's week-long battle against nature itself, where fortunes are made and lives are lost in pursuit of the sea's most precious bounty. 200 miles northwest of Dutch Harbor, Alaska, the fishing vessel Northern Defiance cuts through towering swells that would terrify most sailors. Captain Jake Morrison has been fishing these waters for 23 years, and his weathered hands grip the wheel with the confidence of someone who's survived more storms than he cares to count. The boat groans and creaks as it battles 15-foot waves, each one threatening to send the crew tumbling across the ice-covered deck. "People think we're crazy," Jake says, his voice barely audible over the howling wind that rattles the wheelhouse windows. "Maybe we are, but when king crab is selling for $15 a pound and we can pull up 200,000 pounds in a good season, that's $3 million split among 6 crew members. That's life-changing money. That's retirement money. That's worth risking everything for." The mathematics of king crab fishing are simple but brutal. A successful 7-day trip can net each crew member $500,000. A bad season means bankruptcy, foreclosure, and dreams shattered against the rocks of financial ruin. There's no middle ground in the Bering Sea. You either win big or lose everything, and the ocean doesn't care which way it goes. On deck, Tommy Riggs secures the last of their crab pots, massive steel cages that weigh 800 pounds each when fully loaded with bait. At 26, he's the youngest member of the crew, but he's already seen things that would give seasoned fishermen nightmares. 2 seasons ago, he watched a neighboring boat disappear beneath 30-foot waves, taking all 5 crew members with it. Their bodies were never recovered. "You don't think about the danger when you're out here," Tommy explains, his breath forming ice crystals in the frigid air. "You can't. The moment you start thinking about all the things that could go wrong, you freeze up, and freezing up out here gets you killed faster than anything else." Day 2 brings the storm they've been dreading. The Weather Service calls it a Force 9 gale, but the crew knows it by a simpler name, a boat killer. Winds exceeding 60 miles per hour whip the sea into a frenzy, creating waves that tower 40 feet above the boat's wheelhouse. Ice forms on every surface, adding thousands of pounds of dangerous weight that could capsize the vessel if they're not careful. In conditions like these, commercial fishing becomes the deadliest job in America. The fatality rate is 37 times higher than the national average. One wrong step, one moment of inattention, one equipment failure, and the ocean claims another life. The Bering Sea has claimed over 8,000 fishing vessels in the past century, and it shows no signs of becoming any less hungry. But the crew has no choice. King crab season lasts only 10 weeks, from October to January, and every day spent in port is money lost forever. Weather delays can mean the difference between a profitable season and financial disaster. They drop their first string of 30 crab pots into the black water, each one baited with 20 pounds of chopped herring and cod, hoping they'll find the jackpot 300 feet below. Each crab pot represents an $800 investment in bait, fuel, and crew time. Drop it in the wrong spot, and it's money lost forever. Find a good patch of crabs, and a single pot can hold $2,000 worth of king crab. The waiting is pure agony. Pots need to soak for at least 18 hours before hauling them up, giving the crabs time to find the bait and crawl inside. During that time, anything can happen. Storms can drag the pots for miles. Other boats can claim the best fishing spots. Equipment can fail when you need it most. Maria Santos, the boat's deck boss, and the only woman on the crew, has been fishing for 15 years. She's survived 3 boat sinkings, countless storms, and the kind of injuries that would end most people's careers. A hydraulic accident 2 years ago crushed 3 fingers on her left hand, but she was back on deck within a month. "You drop those pots and you're basically gambling everything," Maria explains, checking the GPS coordinates where they've set their gear. "Your season, Your family's mortgage, your kids' college fund, everything depends on what comes up when you pull those cages. It's the biggest casino in the world, and the house always has the advantage. The moment of truth arrives 18 hours later with the hydraulic whir of the pot hauler. The crew gathers around as the first cage breaks the surface, water cascading off its sides like a waterfall. Inside, 67 adult male king crabs scuttle around the bait box, their spiny shells gleaming in the deck lights. It's a decent start, but they need consistency across all their gear to make this trip profitable. Pot after pot comes up from the depths. Some hold dozens of crabs, their claws clicking against the steel mesh as they try to escape. Others come up nearly empty, containing nothing but disappointed hopes and expensive bait. The crew works 18-hour shifts in conditions that would shut down any other industry. Their hands are numb from the cold, their bodies exhausted from the constant motion of the boat as it rides the swells. There's a rhythm to the work that's almost hypnotic. Bait the pot with fresh herring, attach the buoy line, drop it overboard, move to the next GPS coordinate, repeat. Then wait for the soak time to pass before hauling back and sorting the catch. Legal-size male crabs go into the holding tank. Females and undersized males go back overboard, hopefully to grow larger and reproduce. Hour after hour, day after day, until the season ends or the boat's hold is completely full. Each crab must measure at least 6 3/4 inches across the shell to be legal. Anything smaller goes back into the sea, even though those smaller crabs might be worth $50 each in a restaurant. The regulations exist to protect the species, but they also mean that sometimes a pot full of crabs yields almost nothing in terms of income. By day 5, they're running behind their target numbers. The weather has cost them precious fishing time, and fuel is running dangerously low. Captain Morrison faces the decision that every fishing captain dreads. Play it safe and head home with a marginal catch, or push deeper into dangerous waters where other vessels won't venture. The weather forecast shows another massive storm system approaching from the west, but the fish finder is showing promising signs in an area 30 miles north of their current position. Morrison makes the call. They'll chase the crabs into rougher waters, gambling that they can fill their quota before the next storm hits. It's a decision that could save the season or cost them everything, including their lives. The gamble pays off spectacularly. The next string of pots comes up heavy with premium-sized male crabs, each one worth top dollar at the dock. Pot after pot yields 30, 40, sometimes 50 legal crabs. The crew works with renewed energy, knowing that they're finally hitting the numbers they need to make this trip worthwhile. That's when you remember why you do this job, Maria says, ice crystals forming on her breath as she speaks. All the pain, all the fear, all the nights lying awake wondering if you'll make it home alive. It's all worth it when you see a pot full of beautiful crabs. This is what we came for. The last day of their trip brings the worst weather yet. 40-foot waves crash over the boat's bow, sending thousands of gallons of freezing seawater across the deck. The crew works in survival suits, tethered to the boat with safety lines, pulling their final string of gear in conditions that meteorologists describe as unsurvivable, but they're so close to their goal they can taste it. The final pot comes up with 43 legal-sized males, putting them just over their 200,000-pound target for the trip. $3 million worth of king crab sits in their refrigerated hold, enough to secure their families' futures for another year. The crew celebrates briefly before turning the boat toward home, racing against the approaching storm that could still claim them before they reach port. The journey back to Dutch Harbor takes 14 hours through deteriorating conditions. Ice builds up on the boat's superstructure, requiring constant attention from the crew to prevent capsizing. Every few hours, they must stop fishing operations and break ice with baseball bats and sledgehammers, working in teams to keep the vessel stable. Back at the Unicea processing plant in Dutch Harbor, the journey of these crabs continues along a carefully orchestrated production line. Live crabs are immediately sorted by size and quality in massive holding tanks filled with circulating seawater. The finest specimens, still alive and fighting, are packed in insulated containers with gel ice packs and air-shipped to restaurants in Tokyo, New York, and London within 24 hours of reaching shore. Lower-grade crabs are quickly steam-cooked in massive pressure cookers, then rapidly cooled in ice baths to preserve texture and flavor. Teams of skilled workers extract every ounce of sweet meat from the shells, carefully removing it from legs, claws, and body sections. The meat is vacuum-packed and flash-frozen, destined for retail markets and restaurant chains around the world. Nothing is wasted in this process. Crab shells become calcium-rich fertilizer for agricultural use. Smaller pieces are ground into meal for fish farms and pet food. Even the cooking water is processed to extract natural flavoring compounds used in soups and sauces. That $40 king crab dinner at your favorite restaurant carries with it the weight of this entire story. Every sweet, succulent bite represents hours of dangerous work in some of the planet's most challenging conditions. The butter-poached crab leg on your plate traveled through hurricane-force winds and freezing temperatures before reaching your table. It survived conditions that have claimed thousands of fishing vessels and countless lives. The men and women who harvest king crab aren't just fishermen. They're modern-day gladiators, battling the elements for our plates and our palates. Their courage and determination bring luxury to our tables, one perilous voyage at a time. They risk everything so that we can experience the sweet, delicate flavor of the world's finest seafood. The Bering Sea gives up its treasures reluctantly, and only to those brave enough to face its fury. For Captain Morrison and his crew, this successful trip means another year of financial security, another chance to provide for their families, and another opportunity to return to these dangerous waters when the season opens again next year. But success in the king crab fishery is never guaranteed. Next season could bring empty pots, equipment failures, or worse. The ocean doesn't owe anyone anything, and it collects its debts without mercy. For those willing to pay the price, however, the rewards can last a lifetime, assuming they survive long enough to enjoy them.